Hey everyone, Jan Hicks of Hicks Creates here. It is New Year's Eve and I'm going to show you something a little bit different here today. I have mentioned several times over the course of my different floss tube videos that I wanted to do a video showing you how I use knitCompanion for cross stitch, and today is the day. A couple of words about it first. For those of you who are not knitters, who may not be familiar, or even if you are knitters and you may not be familiar with knitCompanion, it is, as it sounds, an app to help you read your knitting patterns. It is meant to take those PDFs and help you keep track of pretty much anything you can think of with regard to knitting, using a knitting pattern. Everything from keeping track of your row count, keeping track of which rows you're on, keeping track of where your markers are, keeping track of using a chart and how many stitches are in a particular pattern section, how to keep track of your shaping whenever you're doing, you know, how you have the at the same time as type of instructions. You can keep track of all of that. You can write notes, you can color code, you can highlight, you can do everything and more in knitCompanion. If you are a knitter and you're not using it, I cannot recommend highly enough that you check out this app. Let me say up front, I am not affiliated in any way. I just have been using it for years, ever since they first developed it. And I am a very, very, very satisfied customer. If you're, I know a lot of knitters prefer paper patterns. And I could say I get that, but I would be lying because I don't get it. Pretty much all of our patterns that we get these days, unless you go to a yarn store and buy a book or buy a hard copy pattern at the store, pretty much everything is PDFs, whether it's free off of knitty.com, whether it's something you download from Ravelry. It starts as a PDF. As you know, I don't believe in printing if I don't have to. I believe in saving paper and saving trees as much as possible, and knitCompanion lets me do that. So if you're a knitter, I can't recommend it enough. If you're a knitter and a stitcher, what I'm going to show you today is going to increase the functionality of it that much more. Now, it is a $12.99 subscription fee for a year. I have taught many, many, many knitCompanion classes. I have seen many, many students pretty much in every class gasp when I show them what knitCompanion can do. And I have never had a student who wasn't happy to pay that subscription price. So take that for what it's worth. So if you're a stitcher and a knitter and you already use knitCompanion, you're going to be thrilled. If you are a stitcher and you have been looking for some app to use to read your PDF patterns, I recommend that you stick around and check out my tutorial. You may decide that it's not for you. There is a learning curve. There is so much that this app can do that there is a learning curve to learn it. knitCompanion has a ton of videos on YouTube. I am not going to show you all the functionality. I'm going to assume that you already know how to access patterns, how to get them into knitCompanion, and how to get them to where they need to be in order to do what we're going to do today. And what we're going to be doing is cropping patterns, cropping charts, and using the magic marker function to count our stitches, to color in our stitches, a variety of different things. So if you are a stitcher, check it out, see what you think. You'll have to decide for yourself whether you think the functionality is worth it for you. I will be using the upgraded app, the next gen app. knitCompanion NG is what it's called in the App Store. The Legacy app has the same functionality that I will be showing you today. It's just different keystrokes to get to it. If you already use the NextGen app, what you're going to be seeing on my screen today, there's going to be a few things that are going to be different because I'm a beta tester for the next update to the iOS app, and that I am using the iOS, not the Android app. I cannot speak to the Android app. I assume this functionality is there, but I don't know anything about the Android app to be able to talk about it. So I think that is all I wanted to say. So I'm going to get everything set up and switched around so you can watch what I'm doing on my iPad, and I will be right back. Okay, so let's give this a go and see how we do. I am at the main screen of knitCompanion. What you're seeing here is all of the patterns that I have already downloaded and I have either worked on at some point or am going to work on or have just been playing around with in some way. So what I'm going to do first is, you can see up here at the top it says local and Dropbox. So local is what is the PDFs that I already have as patterns, and they are stored within knitCompanion within the app on my iPad. And then Dropbox are patterns, is where I'd find any patterns that I may have saved off. I'm actually going to go down here on the side. You can see, let me move this over just a tad. You can see it says projects, PDFs, designs, and shop. Projects is where we are currently, my current projects. I'm going to go to PDFs, and you can see up here we have local, Dropbox, Ravelry. So local would be PDFs that I've already brought into knitCompanion. Dropbox is how I can get to all of the PDFs I have stored in Dropbox. And then Ravelry is where I would go if I want to grab one of the patterns that I've bought already or that I've gotten in my library in Ravelry. But right now we're going to go to Dropbox. Oh, shoot. I turned off my Wi-Fi because I didn't want a whole bunch of notifications popping up. So I have to turn it back on. All right, so now we're going to Ravelry. This shows all of the different folders that I have in Ravelry. I'm going to go to my cross-stitch folder. And I have downloaded just a free pattern off of Craftsy from Brooks Books. And so here it is here. It pops up. You can see the 3 pages and then new project up here. I'm going to click on new project. I'm going to name it Brooks Books. So like I said, this is free off of Craftsy. Brooks Books actually has all 4 seasons on Craftsy as free patterns, and they're really cute, and I'll probably end up getting them all. Now, you can see there are 3 pages. We have page 1, what we're on, page 2, and page 3. I'm actually, even though this is already color-coded, I'm actually going to work with the black and white copy just so I can show you more of the functionality. So, up here you see these 3 dots, and again, this is the next generation version of the app of knitCompanion. And I'm going to go down here to setup. Now anytime you bring a pattern into knitCompanion, it automatically puts it in a what's called a quick start setup, which is just kind of the basics. In order to do the functionality we're going to do today, you have to say, yes, I want to change it out of quick start and into the more upgraded setup, and that's what we're doing here. So the first thing we're going to do is crop the chart so that all of this other stuff is gone and we just have the chart. That puts the chart in a format that allows me to manipulate it with different tools within knitCompanion. So I come over here on this side and hit the plus sign and choose chart piece. And it's on that page there. Next. And you can see there's this blinking arrow up here. So I start to drag And what's happening here is that it is cropping out everything else and just leaving the chart. And so you can see I can easily zoom in and out just like you can on anything on the iPad. And what I want to do is bring those crop lines right up to the edge. And this is exactly what you do with the knitting chart. And you really want to be quite exact, whether it's a knitting chart or a cross-stitch chart. You want to be quite exact with where you're cropping it at. Now down here you will see some blocks we have to fill in. The name, I don't usually worry about changing the name. I can tell by looking at the picture what it is that I have going on. We do want to choose how many rows and how many stitches. So that's basically how many across here and how many down. Now, most designers put the stitch count on their charts, right? Let's see where it is here. Oh, and it's not on this page. Wonderful. All right, so I can just go back then to one of these other pages and see if she has put it someplace. All right, she hasn't put that information anyplace. So that means we have to count. But since we're in tens, all right, it already counted it, it already cropped it, but we still need to put the numbers in. So is that a full 10 on the end? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's 8. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. So that's 55 stitches. And let's see, we have one up there. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 55 by 55. Okay. And you don't have to pay for a cross stitch, you don't have to pay attention to this first row and all that, count by. Okay, so that is ready to go then. I could go back here, and this is just the plain chart. I could work with this if I wanted to. I could zoom in and zoom out. But instead, I'm going to go here. Well, let me add one thing first. Perhaps you have a chart that has multiple pages and you would like to join those pages together. You can do that easily in knitCompanion. So here I am back at the setup page where we have the plus and the X here and the number of rows and number of stitches down here. In order to add pages to this, I hit this little icon here that has kind of the overlapping squares. Okay, so it's saying this, if I want to add a page, then it's going to take away any additional editing I have done. I haven't done any yet. I did go to the edit page, the edit function, but I didn't do anything. So I'm going to say yes, proceed. And so what that means is, I'm going to show you the additional functionality working with magic markers. If you want to concatenate pages together, you need to do that before you do anything else. Because if you decide afterwards that you want to add pages to this, it's going to wipe out everything that you've done. So just keep that in mind. So I want to add. So add a piece. And I'm going to pick that same page because I'm just showing you. So once again, I'll need to crop this. And this time I'm going to crop it right up against those symbols. I'm going to zoom in so I can really see what I'm doing. Oops. Okay. So this is going to be 54 and 54. Okay, up here at the top you see edit or align. I don't think I need to edit. I think I'm okay. I tap on align. I tap on align. There we go. And you can see it comes up. It puts the chart that I just added next to it. It wants me to just fine tune if I need to where I think it needs to go. If I wanted to have it on the other side, I could move it there. Come on. I can move it down below. So you can easily, as you can see, you can easily add additional pages. So those charts that have multiple pages, you can put them all together and work with them like that. So I'm going to actually X out of that so it doesn't save that. Okay, so here we are back at the original chart. I'm going to tap on these three dots up here, tap on edit, and that takes me to the place where I have all the other functionality within knitCompanion. So this is where I can do highlights, I can do notes, I can do the sliding rule markers, the sliding stitch markers, I can do smart counters in here, magic marker, add information, or add pages to the PDF. And for those of you that are familiar with knitCompanion, even if you're not in this version of it, you'll recognize all that functionality. What we are going to use is this little thing here with the magic wand, and that is our magic markers. Okay, so I have to redo part of this. When I did my recording the first time, you could not see what is on here in the bottom, and that's very important for this part of it. I'm going to just hold my camera so I can move it around, so hopefully this will work out well. We will give it a go. All right, so we are in the part where we are going to be adding magic markers. So what you do first is tap on the plus down here, and that comes up with a choice, magic marker, magic marker or custom marker. I'm going to choose magic marker. Then it says tap on a stitch that you want to select. So I'm going to start with a little fishy, and that comes up with this down here. There's a color palette, there's the place where you can put the name, and then all these other choices. So this color is actually orange spice, I believe. Yeah, orange spice. So that color isn't bad. I'm going to go ahead, what's the number? Orange spice. 721. So let's go back here. And you can see you can jump around on these pages. Even though you're not editing all the pages, you can jump around on the pages within your pattern very easily. So this was 721. Spice. Something about spice. All right, so like I said, that color, the default color of the palette isn't bad, but let me, shoot. All right, hold that thought. You can bring up the palette and choose from a variety, and you can also slide this, and this changes the intensity and the opacity of the color. Like I said, I think that's a good one for spice. All right, let's look at these other options. I don't use more or less, so I'm not really sure what that relates to, whether it's the start count. So the start count default is actually 4. You can go down. You didn't used to be able to go down. Oh, you can't go down below 3. So I usually leave my stitch count at 5 because I can eyeball pretty easily when it's 4 stitches or less. It's when you get above that that the counting gets to be something you have to do, or you can have knitCompanion do it for you. So I leave that at 5. The color search, because this is a black and white pattern, I am leaving it on black and white. Search rows, all, odd, or even. I wanted to do all of the rows. And then show count, I can have it show the count either on none of the rows, which, what would be the use of that, all of the rows, or the current row. In knitting, I just have it show the current row because I only care what's happening in that row when I'm knitting, and I don't want all the other numbers distracting me. But for cross stitch, because I do kind of move around in different directions, I want to have the numbers showing on all the rows. So just pretend I didn't accidentally press the little magic wand button. I do that, and oh, look, the colors all appear. So it finds all the places that that symbol is on your chart. Whoops. Shoot. And fills it all in. All right, so let's do another one. Let's do 3822 straw. And that is that symbol there. So first we are going to hit the plus sign and choose magic marker. And then I'm going to choose that diamond. That was 3822, I think, hopefully. I'm going to change the color here, and I'm going to choose that one. I want it to be on all rows, and then I hit the magic marker, or the magic wand. And so you can see now, this one, these rows were more than 5, so it puts the number in there. It finds all the other instances of that symbol on the chart and fills it in. You can see there's rows of 8 up there. Now I always check to make sure it has caught them all. There are times that it doesn't catch them all, but for the most part it does. Let's see, another one that has several in a row. There aren't really any. Let's do the heart. What is the heart? Shell pink, 223. So plus sign, magic marker, choose the heart. I want it on all rows. It is 223. I'll go in here and find, let's choose that pink. Okay, so it's finding these stray ones in various parts of the pattern. Some stray ones up here. Okay, this is what I was hoping it would do. Every once in a while, it doesn't find them. Let's see what happens if we press it again. I don't usually do it this way, but let's do it. Didn't find them again. So for some reason, it is not recognizing that symbol, those ones, as being the same as these other ones, whether there's a few pixels off, whether there's some, it looks like this one might have some stray pixels. It's very easy to fix. You just tap on it and that fills it in. So those are the times that, there are some times that it doesn't recognize the symbol and you'll have to tap it and fill it in. The other times it doesn't recognize the symbol is if there is backstitching lines, you know, across some of the graph. Of course, that's going to make the symbol look different to the computer, and so it will not recognize those, so you have to go in and you just tap it, and you can tap to remove as well if it for some reason chose the wrong one. You just tap, 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 tap. So easy to fix. Of course, zooming in and out is one of my favorite things about working with the pattern on the iPad. So that's the basics, and you can see then, if I go back to that knit page, so right now you're just seeing whichever is the current color that is chosen. If I go back to that knit page, you can see everything. Now, if you happen to be somebody who likes to mark when you've finished a color, you can go back to the edit page and choose that color. Right now we're on the shell pink. Perhaps it's one of the straws that you're working on. You can go in here and just tap to show which ones that you finished. And then when you go back to the main page, those will no longer be marked. So that is that functionality. Now I also want to show you another editing feature. Down at the bottom here, there is this, what's known as a shelf or a tray, that you can store a variety of information in, and you choose anything from the pattern to store down there. So I like to put my key for my colors in there. So to do that, I go back into Setup, and where there is the plus sign, I choose Key. And by choosing Key, I am telling it whatever information I choose here, I want it to go down in that bottom drawer. So I'm going to choose this page. And again, I'm at the same cropping area where I have that blinking blue arrow up there, or purple arrow, I guess. And then I just come over here and crop this. And this doesn't have to be exact, it's just text. So I crop that. So now when I go back, I don't have to save it or anything, it's automatically saved. I go back to knit, and when I look down in this bottom tray again, there is my color key. So I don't even have to worry about switching back to the other pages. It's all right there, right on the same page where I want it. So I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to help. I'm happy to clarify. I know there's a lot going on here, and you may decide that there is other apps out there that work with PDFs that are easier, that are more straightforward. I totally get that. Like I said, there is a learning curve. But for those of you that do knit, for those of you that already own knitCompanion, this is the one to use. Highly, highly recommend it. Anyway, hope you guys have a great New Year's. Enjoy whatever festivities you have, even if it's just sitting and knitting or stitching the new year in. That's probably what I'll be doing. Have a great one, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.